Okay, students, let me explain the practice test here for those that were absent during class. All right, um, which pair of angles, number one, are vertical angles? We know those should be creating a V coming together at the common vertex. So if we look at EOB and AOP, right there, those are vertical angles. Another way to remember, if I extend the side, it should create two lines. Okay, so those are vertical angles, and the vertical angle theorem says that vertical angles are congruent, as a side note. Determine the value of A. So we have the exterior angle theorem. Okay, remember the exterior angle says the exterior angle equals the sum of the two remote interior angles, also called the opposite interior angles. So now we just solve that, subtract the 122 across, and you get 27. Next, um, this is all messed up. There's no angles here. That's why I have it crossed out. Okay, so don't worry about that. 4. If a point B is on AC between the points A and C, then their distances, so this would be what it is, A, B, C. It says if I take this distance plus this distance equals the whole distance, that's the segment addition postulate. Remember I told you the most common way of writing this, instead of writing it like this, should be AB plus BC equals I don't know what happened there, equals AC. Okay, meaning the distance from A to B plus the distance from B to C equals the distance from A to C. That's how most books write it. All right, here we have quadrilateral. Okay, segment MN is part of ray MR. It's a measure of angle PNR is 95, so 95 is right there. Which of the following angles must have a measure of 95? Well, we know that if that's 95, this is 85. Okay, in order to be a linear pair right there. Then we know we have an inscribed quadrilateral. Inscribed quadrilateral, we know the opposite angles are supplementary. So that angle plus that angle must be 180 degrees, add to 180 degrees. So that makes that 95, angle Q. Okay. And that's all we know. So we have angle Q right there. Okay. All right, 6. Two angles are marked congruent. These two, you can't see them. Which theorem justifies the conclusion that they are parallel? So if we're trying to prove lines parallel, we know that it has to have the word converse in it. And all I have to do now is identify those types of angles. Those angles are alternate exterior angles. Okay, alternate meaning diagonal, exterior outside the parallel lines, are the two lines that were proven parallel. It doesn't matter if they put the converse at the front or at the end. So notice they call the alternate, this is wrong, alternate exterior angles converse theorem. Okay, so wrong answer there. Got to have converse in the answer. They put it at the end here. Okay. 7. What's the angle measure of each interior angle of a regular polygon? Well, here's your formula for the measures of the regular interior angles of a regular polygon. And meaning the number of sides. So all you do is take that 42 and plug it in there. 42 minus 2 is 40 times 180 divided by 42. Just plug it in a calculator and you get approximately 171.43. What's the value of x? Okay, we have a 30, 60, 90 special right triangle right there. That shows 60, so that makes us 30 up here. The hypotenuse is 18. So we know the 30-degree side is half of that. So that's 9. The 60-degree side is root 3 times longer than the 30-degree side. So 9 root 3. Okay. Number 9, measure of arc ML is 175, listed right there. Measure of arc ON is 15, that little arc right there. Okay, what's the measure of angle MPL? So outer arc, 175 minus the inner arc divided by 2 equals the exterior angle there. So 160 divided by 2 is 80 degrees. 10, determine the value of x. Okay, so we have 127 there. Vertical angle theorem tells me that's 127. This is 29 right there. And you have this triangle right there. We know triangle sum theorem says all triangles add to 180 degrees. So I have the 127 plus 29 plus x equals 180. Combine like terms, 156 plus x equals 180. Subtract the 156 across and you get 24 degrees. Triangle shown AD equals AE. Remember, you put that for your hash marks. DB congruent to EC. What could you use to prove that the length of AB equals the length of AC? Segment addition postulate. If I add these two segments together and those two segments together, okay, then I would get AB and AC. All right, 12. Two secants intersect two concentric circles. Concentric circles means they have the same center, cone width and centric center. So their centers are the same for both circles. The arcs include the measure of arc XZ, 144 degrees right there. Measure of arc WY, 90 degrees right there. Measure of arc DF, 40 degrees right there. What's the measure of arc AB? Okay. So what can we do here? Okay. So what we need to do is use the interior angle theorem for circles, which means I add the sum of the two intercepted arcs, add the two arcs together, divide by 2, which is finding the average. So if I said how far from 90 to 144, that's 54. Half of 54 is 27. I could add 27 to 90 or subtract 27 to 144 and I get 117. So this arc, or that angle right there is 117. Well, now I have 40 degrees for the inner circle right there, plus a question mark, we'll call it x, divided by 2 has to equal 117. Okay, so to solve that, cross multiply, I get 40 plus x equals 234. Subtract 40 across. X equals 194. Right there. Okay, next. It just wanted us to figure out this blank right here. Okay, y is angle 1 congruent to angle 5, where you see it, they're parallel. So we know those are corresponding angles. So the corresponding angles theorem tells me, okay, this is knowing your angles right there. 14, the endpoints of the diameter BD on a circle form an angle with point C. What's the measure of BCD, angle BCD? Remember, any point that extends to the ends of the diameter, that intercepted arc is 180 degrees, and that's an inscribed angle. Inscribed angles are half of its intercepted arc, so half of 180 is 90. So I could have even written it right here, put it, let's say F right there, connect it to there and there. That's 90 degrees. I could have put it right here, connect it to the end of the ends of the diameter. That's 90 degrees. Anytime it's an inscribed angle equals half of the intercepted arc. And so if it goes to the ends of the diameter, every time the intercepted arc is 180 degrees. Half of that is 90. Don't forget it. Okay, 15. Which of the following is a true statement? In a 45, 45, 90 degree triangle, both legs are congruent. Well, we should see that from 45 and 45. So both legs. Remember, I told you that's called an isosceles right triangle. Okay, and they use that phrase isosceles right triangle on the decals. So when you see a isosceles right triangle, you better be thinking it's a 45, 45, 90 special right triangle. 16. Which the following is true of any isosceles triangle? The altitude of the base. So here we have an isosceles triangle, for example. When I do the altitude, remember the altitude goes from the vertex to the perpendicular of the other side called the base. In an isosceles triangle, that is a perpendicular bisector every time. We've talked about that. So it bisects the base, yes. The altitude to the base is the perpendicular bisector of the base. Yes, I just said that. The altitude to the base bisects the vertex angle. Remember, this is called the vertex angle up here, and that does bisect it. Those are congruent. Okay, the altitude does not to the base does not separate the triangle into two congruent triangles. Yes, they are two congruent triangles. Okay, I have that right there. I could use that right there and have SAS from either this side here or this side here, and I have SAS. I actually have SSS as well. Okay, there's plenty of ways of proving those two triangles congruent. All right, 17. Select all that apply. Well, if that's 140 degrees and that's 40 degrees, okay, then this makes it 100 degrees because that's an exterior angle. Okay, exterior angle theorem says it equals the sum of the two remote interior angles. So 140 equals 40 plus what? 100. And so if that's 40 there, that's 100 there, then this also has to be 40. And so we have both an obtuse angle, obtuse triangle, because the highest, the biggest degree, the biggest angle here is 100 degrees. So it's between 90 and 180, so that makes it obtuse. And since these both base angles are 90, that means their legs are congruent, so we have an isosceles triangle as well. Okay, remember when you see select all that apply, there's probably at least two answers. Rarely ever would there only be one. I can't remember if I've even seen one where it's only one. For which polygon is the sum of the exterior angles equal to 360? The sum of all the exterior angles of any polygon is always equal to 360. So that's why all are selected. It wouldn't matter if it said 50 sides, 60 sides, 100 sides. The sum of the exterior angles is always 360. Which of the following statements is true? Select all that apply. Vertical angles are always congruent. That's the vertical angle theorem. When a pair of lines are cut by a transversal, the corresponding angles are always congruent. Yes, they are. Inscribed angles that intercept the same arc are always congruent. Yes, that's true. All right angles are congruent. Yes, that's true. So in this case, all of them were true. And 20. Which of the following angle measurements would allow you to calculate each of the measures of the inscribed quadrilateral? Okay, so measure of angle FGH. If I know this one, FGH, if I know that one, then obviously I can get this one right here. Okay, they're supplementary. If I know GHE, this one right here, then I can get this one right here. Okay, so that one works. I can get all four. Try it again. GHE, that one. That means I can get that one. And FGJ. FGJ. Okay, so if I know this one, I know I can get this one because they're a linear pair, which then means I can get that one because they're supplementary. So that works. HEF, this one right here means I can get this one right there because they're supplementary. GFE, if I have that one, that means I can get this one because they're supplementary. So that one works. Okay, HEF, that one will allow me to get that one. And FGH is this one already. That only allows me to get the one across from it, so I can't get the other two angles. Okay, so those three work. All right, so that is a quick review of your practice tests.